Tracy here with BibleJournalingMinistries.com, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make a traveler's notebook for your revival camp kit. I actually did not get the kit that had the traveler's notebook, but I figured, hey, I could make one pretty easily on my own. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing I want to do is measure the little devotionals that I have here to make sure that they're going to fit in my traveler's notebooks. Usually in my traveler's notebooks, I cut them out 21 centimeters by 11 centimeters. So if I'm measuring it, I can just measure this one really quick, and this is almost 11 centimeters, so it's totally going to fit just fine without any problems. And then it's almost at 21, so I might want to make mine just a tad bit bigger in basically width or length or height, whatever. I'll make mine just a little bit bigger than 21 inches to make sure that these are going to fit nicely in there. So what I'm going to be using is just some cardstock paper. You can use anything that you have on hand, but I have 4 pieces of 65-pound white cardstock paper that I plan on using for mine. I want to make mine just a little bit heavier, so that's why I'm using the cardstock, because I think I might be using like some wet mediums, maybe some watercolors and some paints. Otherwise, I would just use copy paper. For my normal traveler's notebooks that I make for journaling or just even my devotionals for momentum, I always use the copy paper. It's just cheaper and faster and easier anyways, but because I'm going to be using some mediums, I'm going to go ahead and do that. Use the cardstock. This is a piece of craft cardstock. I just like the color because it's more of a camp feel, but you could use white, you could use a cereal box if you have, you can use anything that you want. You don't have to use what I'm using. So the first thing I'm going to do is just fold my pages. You don't have to fold them in half if you don't want to, but I like to do that. And if you want to save more paper, you may not want to fold them in half. So I'm going to fold my cover in half, like so. And then you can take a bone folder, or in this case, this is just a marker, and I'm going to go ahead and just smooth that out and make it nice and straight. Here we go. And you can see here now that in terms of my height, I am at just a tad bit over 21 inches. So I may not even cut this height at all. But I do need to cut my width a little bit. So I'm at 14 inches. I definitely want to go closer to 11. So I think I'll go 11¼ centimeters just because I want my cover to be just slightly bigger. So maybe 11¼ or even 11½. You don't have to do. You can go exactly at 11 if you want to. I just like to make my covers just slightly bigger. So I'm going to go ahead and measure out my 11. So here's my 11 centimeters on my cutting tool here. This is just an American Crafts one, and I'm going to go a ½ centimeter over, so at 11½. And that will make my cover bigger than the pieces of paper that will go inside. And I'll show you why that's important in just a minute. So then I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm just going to fold 2 at a time. I think I can cut 1 at a time with this rotary, or not rotary cutter, but with this cutting tool, I think I can do just 1 at a time. But I can definitely fold 2 at a time. I like to just fold maybe 2 or 3 at a time because I don't, otherwise I don't fold them correctly if I don't fold small quantities. If I'm trying to fold big quantities, then I generally will run into some problems. So I'm going to cut these ones exactly at 11. When you're cutting, make sure that you have the fold on this side so that you don't accidentally cut the fold. And I have done that before, and you could just not have to have that experience. It's could be a little frustrating sometimes. So that is at 11 and exactly. So you can see now that when I place that in my traveler's notebook, I'm going to have just a little bit of give here, which is awesome. Now, in terms of the width, I like to have it at 22. The height at 21, and right now it's at 21½. So I think what I will do is cut that down to exactly the 21 that I like to have. That way, it fits nicely in my notebook. in the cover, because now it'll fit nicely in there and you don't have to worry about seeing all that white. And so it's a nice professionally looking traveler's notebook. So I'm going to go ahead and fast forward real quickly because I'm going to do the other few of these before we move on to our next step. Now that I'm done folding, I am going to put it together with a staple. There are two different ways that you can staple it. You can use a long arm staple, and that is the easiest way. All you do is you measure your long arm stapler out, simply place this in there and staple. Real super easy. Okay, but most of us don't have long arm staples unless you do this often, and then you probably aren't watching this video unless you're curious about what I'm going to do. And some of us will have just like regular staples. So this little stapler, it opens kind of like this. It's a little bit hard, so I might not be able to use it. It won't go all the way. But for me, if I was going to use something like this, I'm going to have to prop this up on some sort of box or even on the side of my table. So if I was going to use a stapler like this, I would want to prop it up on a box and probably push it towards the end and then staple it like 1, 2, 3 here on the side. 1, 2, 3. And you can see that it's a little bit awkward. Another option is to use a regular stapler, and here's this is a regular stapler here. What I like to do is I'll place this on a piece of towel, and that helps me to have the staple go right through these papers without ruining my desk. So before I decide to finish up my stapling, I would like to make sure that I staple it in the exact position that I want to staple it in. So I just kind of wing it in terms of viewing where I want to put the staple, and then I'll take a binder clip, or you can do this by, you don't have to do this part. I often won't, if I'm in a hurry and the traveler's notebook's not a big deal to me, then I'll just go ahead and staple it without binder clipping it at all. And I'll just take my stapler and open it, and I will go maybe in the middle. Okay, and so now you can see that staple through, and then you just pull it up, and then you can just flatten it out with like scissors if you have them. Okay. All right, and let's see. Okay, and then let's do the other. And you can do one staple if you want to. You can do 4. I do 3 or 4. You also don't have to staple it if you don't want to. You can use elastic in the middle to hold it. So for example, you might have a hair tie near you or a piece of elastic. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So you might have a piece of elastic like this that you want to put here in the middle, which you can totally do as well. And that would keep your papers in there for you. So that is definitely an option. So the next thing I'm going to do, now that I have got my traveler's notebook set up, I'm going to go ahead and decorate the front of it. And I thought it would be fun to use the new Illustrated Faith Revival Camp stamps. Now, you may want to decorate yours before you actually make the traveler's notebook. You can most definitely do that. But for me, I like to just kind of decorate as I go. So I'm going to go ahead and decorate now. So what you're going to need is some stamping ink and some blocks. For these particular stamps, these are polyphotomer stamps. They're very high quality stamps, the best you can get, really, as far as I know. If I'm wrong, you let me know. But they smell really good. Some people probably won't like that smell, but I love the smell. You can use any color stamping ink that you want or have on hand. I thought what I would do is just grab some of my Illustrated Faith ink here and just do a plain black background because I think that looks great. But if you had brown, you can make a brown background. That would be cool as well. So all I'm going to do is just ink up that stamp, make sure that I have enough ink on there. And then I'm going to apply that to my traveler's notebook. Isn't that great? So cool. Now, you might be wondering, well, she's got this edge. That looks funny. But you can totally take care of that edge by just grabbing something here to kind of protect your surface, or even some washi tape, and then going ahead and doing another stamp. So let's go ahead and do that. And before you stamp, make sure that you put something down because you don't want to stamp on your surface. And it would be better if I had, there we go. It would be better if I had my crafting mat out so I wouldn't accidentally stamp on my surface, because then I would have extra work in terms of cleaning it up. So let's do that on the back side too. I think that would be really fun as well to do it on the back side. So we'll do 1 and 2. Oh, I didn't do a good job. Let me try to do that, redo that. I'm not really good at redoing the stamps once I put them down. I'm really not good at redoing them. That wasn't bad. Maybe I'm better than I think. And then I'll go ahead and just eyeball that one. All right. That looks super cool. I love it. And then whenever you want to wipe these down, just go ahead and grab some kind of, you can use water to wipe it down. I'll just use a baby wipe. Another good idea is maybe to take a scrap piece of paper that you might have around, maybe from cutting up all of these fun traveler's notebook pages, and then you could just make some of your own designs and maybe use that later in the kit as you maybe decorate your notebook. And that way you're not wasting any ink either. So it kind of works out if you decide to use that for later. And then obviously you can just take a baby wipe and just wipe the rest of it off. Super easy to clean. No big deal. Ta-da, it's all clean. Let's put that back. Love the photopolymer stamps. They're so awesome. Okay, so I have a nice little tree background. And I will not be decorating this side. I usually will just do a little bit on the back side, but not too much. Then I have the Revival Camp sticker that came on the tissue paper, but I definitely want to put that here in the middle. But I want to have a nice background, so I thought it would be fun to use a bunch of these little Explorer badge stamps. So I'll go ahead and stamp this and fast forward through this part so you don't have to be bored watching me stamp the same stamps over and over again. Okay, I finished stamping and I did get a little bit sloppy here on this, I have to admit. I did not do the best of all jobs, but that's okay. We will continue to move on. I was also thinking that I wanted to add this washi tape in on the edge to cover the binding. So I went ahead and did that. When I first applied it and I folded it, it wrinkled. So I had to pull it up and redo it, and this time make sure I was really careful about smoothing it down. So if you have that problem as well, just pull it up, redo it, and put it down. The other thing I wanted to do was put the Revival Camp logo on here with this little sticker that was on the tissue paper that came with mine. And I'm really not totally thrilled with what I did here. I could restamp it, but I don't want to. And I was thinking I might either do some of this bling here or use some cord. So I have this cord. I have never used it. I don't remember. Must have been doing some beading, or maybe I got it at, it says Michael's on the back, so I might have got it at Michael's, or it might have came in a kit or something. But I thought maybe I would look and see what it looked like with some of this cording on here. If I can get it out And this is really the process of creating one of these traveler's notebooks. It's deciding, what do you want to do? Do you want to do a cord, or do you want to do something else? Alright, this is going to be really interesting to get out of here. I can see the end of it, but it doesn't want to come out. So the way we solve that in the crafting world is to just take it all off and deal with the repackaging of it later. Okay, so if I'm going to do some of this cord, and you could use anything you had on hand, I would just wrap this cord around a couple times. And I just think that would be really kind of cute. So let's just wrap it around a couple times. Let's see what we come up with. And try not to tangle it up, Tracy. Try not to get a knot in it like I do. Uh-oh. Alright, there, she did it. That'll be used in a different project, probably, if I can't get the knot out right away. It's just no fun being on camera and having knots in your cord. Okay, here we go. Come on out. Come on. There we go. One. I don't know how it got so knotted. Alright, let's see. Do you ever have problems when you're working on your craft projects and your materials aren't cooperating with you? I do all the time. Okay, so I have two pieces of cord, and they are in the middle of this. And I just think they would be really cute like that. So we won't use the bling. The bling is awesome, but we're not going to use it. And we're going to just tie this cord together. With a knot, and hopefully it looks decent. Hey, I think it's cool. You could even do more if you wanted to, more cord. But I'm going to stick with just one. And I think that I will leave this because I think it would be fun to add, I think this came with some buttons. Buttons. Hello. Maybe a button kind of right there. If I add the button, I think I will want to center it up a little bit more. So just be careful if you're moving the cord, because you could accidentally rip your traveler's notebook here. Now, if you use the big one or the little one, let's look at the big one and see what that looks like. And I'm going to go ahead and just weave this one through as well on the side here. So these little buttons came in my kit. I don't know if all the buttons are the same in all the kits, so your buttons might be different than mine, but that's okay. Alright, hey, I think that's cool. And then I'm going to let these, I think I'm going to just let these kind of be a little bit long. And maybe I'll cut them off later. I'm not sure yet. Right now, I'm just going to let them be a little long. So I'm really digging this right now, the way it is. Except for now, these are bothering me a little bit. Let me do one more tie and see if that resolves this. Boop. Yeah, now I feel better. And now I want to add this here in the middle. So I'm just going to, there's some little pink tissue paper stuck there. And I'm just going to cut that out here. And then I'm going to go ahead and find some glue. Any kind of glue will be fine. Even your glue stick will be totally fine. So I'm going to take my glue stick here and then just cover the back of this. And try not to get the glue on my workstation. There we go. Craft mat. So awesome. Okay. Now we're going to place that here. And the only thing else I'm going to do is maybe just a little bit more decorating. I'm going to add each of these on their own page with the glue stick, and I will be right back. Okay, I'm back real quick because I noticed I did a big oops when I was actually building this out. So when I put the washi tape over on this side and then flipped it over and ran it up through here, what I failed to realize is that you actually have to turn the pages. So when I did that, then the washi tape broke. So here's what we're going to do. I took off the cord. Everything is fixable and workable. And you can either just replace your washi tape or put another washi tape over the other one. That would work fine as well. But I'm going to just put some more down. And I hope that stuff, these kind of quote-unquote mistakes, although I don't think they're mistakes, I think everything's on purpose, help you see that, you know, just because it doesn't turn out the way you wanted it to turn out on the first time doesn't mean you can't come back and do something a little bit different. So it's totally okay, and play with it until you're happy with it, because you want your traveler's notebook to be something that you enjoy and want to open. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is because I didn't staple it all the way at the end, I'm just going to cut off the end a little bit here, and then I'm going to move that washi tape. You probably can't see it, but I'm going to fold that washi tape in between the cover and the other sheets. You see right there? I'm just going to fold it in like that. You can totally do this any way you want, but I just think that's nice, and that's going to give this a nice protection here. And then you can fold it slowly and work out any kind of creases that you might get. And this might take you a couple times, and that's okay. And I love this. I think it's great the way it is. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in on this page, because I've already done it with some washi, and I'm going to go ahead and place some more washi down. I'm just going to do it right on the edge here. And I certainly can pull the washi tape off as well, but I like the idea of having the washi tape cover up the staples. So I'm okay with having the washi tape right here. And then just cut it off where you want it, or rip it off, however you want to do it. And there we go. So now I've got just a little bit hanging that was underneath this other page, so let me just clip that off. Okay, so now what you can see is I've got my traveler's notebook here with the logo in the middle, and then I open the page. I think I want to put maybe some of the trail mix in here, or what I think would be better. I know I purposely wanted to keep this, but I'd like to be able to put things inside of this. So I think what I'll do, I might open it up right here. Let's see. The thing is I have to cut below this sewing line. So if I'm going to do that, I need to flip it up and cut it underneath there. Let's give it a whirl. It's just a bag. Okay, cool. So if I put that there and I flip this up, I should be able to store, I could store some things in here. But I don't really like that either, so I'm not going to do that. even though I just cut it, but you can't tell I cut it if you're just looking at it. Maybe what I'll do is just tape down the sides here. And yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. So I think what I'll do is I'll fold this under. You can see there's no plan. I'm gonna take some double-sided adhesive, and all I'm gonna do, I'm gonna run it on the back of this so it stays when I place it down. And then I'm going to run two along the edge here. And that way I will have a pocket. And you'll see in just a minute. There will be a pocket, I promise you. Okay, so now I have the trail mix here. And I'll place that right here. And so we have a pocket. We can put our little embellishments there. See, hello. And you're going to just kind of stick out here. Like that. Okay, so now we have a pocket. And, oops, hi little Bambi. Okay, so now we have the pocket there, and then what else should we do here? I think that I need a little arrow that goes this way to kind of say this is Tracy's Traveler's Notebook. So you would say this belongs to, I'm just going to do the arrow here, right in the middle. Okay, and then I think that looks good there, and that way I can put my name right here. Alrighty, and then now we have, I can start my first page here, and I'll have some stuff to journal. And what I did was I took the coordinating stamp that went with it and put it in the corner. I did start to use the archival ink because honestly I'm just not really good at the pigment ink, the basics from Illustrated Faith, so I went to archival because I get a clearer impression, at least for me. And so I did that here as well. Went ahead and did that here for fellowship, and then for heart. And you can see I have some extra pages here that I'll be able to put maybe my prayers here, and I'm just going to be decorating those as well. So I hope that this video was really helpful in helping you create your own little traveler's notebook. And I'm going to go ahead and fix this so that I can use it in my traveler's notebook. I'll just do one, and that way I still have it. And I can always come back with some more twine, but you want this to be on the edge when you tie it. So we've got the little button there that's dangling off the edge. I will probably come in with some more cord. I think it would just look nicer with more cord. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Cord mayhem right there. It's everywhere. Awesome. just going to tie these cords together so that they feel like they belong together. And I'm going to move the tie a little bit behind that button so you can't really see it very clearly. Ta-da! Snip the ends and snip this end. Try not to snip the 3 cords I just put in place. Snip, snip, snip. Alrighty. Oh, and I didn't snip those other ones. Here we go. Alright. That's awesome. So then I have my cord edging here. It's kind of giving me a little bit of a rough time there. But I'm going to put it on the edge because I think that when I open it, I don't want it to interfere with my journaling. So if I turn this page, I don't want that cord to kind of constrain things. So anyways, that's my traveler's notebook, and I hope that I'd love to see yours. So if you would head over to the Bible Journaling for Beginners community, post it there. I'd love to see it. Alright, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you like our videos, please subscribe and like our channel. Have a wonderful day now, and we'll talk to you soon. Goodbye!